And without no further ado, we're going to get the show up and running. I'd like to introduce you to my fabulous house band, the lovely Marcia Escoffrey band. And Marcia Escoffrey, she's going to do something for you, so round of applause, please, for Marcia.
Got the visual, please.
Our first guest, we've got some fantastic guests here tonight actually, and our first guest is, apart from being an outstanding comedian, she's also a fabulous sketch writer and a radio broadcaster as well. And she's sort of the UK's answer, I say, and a lot of people say, to Oprah. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Angie Lemar! Angie Lemar, pleasure having you. Welcome to A.R.I.S.E. And I was hoping that you was going to come with your leather outfit, because I've been told that you kind of like leather.
Use the mic? Okay, I was going to do the whole leather thing, but because of the actual snow and that, I thought that's just too slippery for me tonight. So I've got a little bit of leather, not too much. Okay?
So tell me, Angie, it's been a long road. You know, I can remember when I first saw you, it must have been about 30 years ago, and you was yeah, it's about that. Tell me I'm lying.
You're lying. 30 years ago.
Yeah, all right, 28 then.
Yeah, people say it must have been Podium. My first gig I was about 19, and I don't know, remember Podium? Yeah. Back in the day, Finesse Modeling Agency, Tony Wellington gave me my first gig actually. And I remember going to, well, the first original gig was a blues dance. I remember saying to the DJ, can I just tell some jokes? And his introduction was, whoever girl who go and tell 2 jokes, I beg her to move back. I thought, come on, you could have done it better than that. But then I realised then, if I could actually stop a dance, because you know it's like if you turn the light on in a club, we just go mad. But to turn the light on and keep an audience, that's when I realised if I can stop a dance and tell jokes and no one doesn't boo me, I think I can do this. And that was where I cut my teeth in the blues dance. It doesn't read well, does it? But yes.
Now, was this after you used to sneak out and go to blues dances? Because I know you used to sneak out and go to blues dances. So was this one of your forays when you actually sneaked out?
You really going there? Okay. No, I'm raised in the church. My mum was the band. The raising was something we didn't do. My brothers, older brothers, I've got 4 older brothers. I'm the only. They used to go parties, and they used to have sound systems and stuff like that. Silox, all those places that I know. Steroid. Lucian Boys Club back in the day was a place that some young girls used to go. And I used to want to go because everybody was going there. And some people are laughing with recognition, so this is just grace. But I used to sneak out, put the pillow in the bed, and go out. And when I come back, move the pillow back and go back to bed, wake up in the morning, put peas, everything was cool. But one day I got caught.
And what was the result from that?
I beat me in the street, which I always thought was a bit too dramatic at the time, but yes.
So, of course, your stand-up career as a comedian, was this the road that you actually wanted to go down, or did you actually want to be a script writer and a broadcaster and that?
You know, really, I didn't know what I was going to be. I knew I was going to do comedy because I used to love making. Remember we used to black out back in the day? Well, I used to pretend to be my mum, pretend to be my dad, and make all like shapes on the wall and just write characters, not write characters, but just pretend to be different voices. And hearing my parents or my family laugh was something that I really kind of thought, I love this feeling. And I remember there was a TV show, a radio show, LBC had on a Saturday morning called Jelly Bones. And remember Jelly Bones, everybody know? Oh, we're going back far.
I told you it was 30 years, it looks like it's longer.
40. But yeah, you know, I was black and white then, you know, but seriously. Calling and saying like, I got a joke, not, whatever. And that feeling of telling jokes and making people laugh was something that I've always felt was me. So when I started doing comedy, there wasn't any black women, so I was Britain's first black female. And then, if you wanted to book a black woman and a woman, I got a lot of gigs back then. But then getting into the writing, because I'm dyslexic, I couldn't I wouldn't have fun at auditions. So I'll be kind of reading it very badly and thinking, you know what, I'm going to have to do my own writing. So the first show I wrote was Funny Black Woman on the Edge. And that show was a huge success.
Well, I think people saw Funny Black Woman on the Edge.
Black Woman on the Edge. I remember when it was, they kept saying it's sold out, it's sold out, it's sold out. And I kept thinking that someone was going to come up and say, who wrote this? Surely this person's dyslexic. Because you just think someone's going to critique you. But all I know is I wanted to see funny black women, not playing no maids, not playing no social workers on TV in the bill. I wanted just to show us it's funny, versatile and sexy and varied. And when I did that show, it was a huge success, and that is when I thought, I can do this. And then went on to do other things, train to direct, train to write, train to produce, do all those things, because I figured that this country wasn't going to make it work for me, I had to make it work for myself.
So Funny Black Women, that was over at the Hackney, was that the Hackney?
That started off at the Civic Centre on Oakham Road.
Just below Peckham, I do believe.
Actually, Peckham.
Was it being renamed by you?
Yeah. But that was at Oakham Road, Ian Thompson back in the day commissioned it. And from there we went to Theatre Royal Stratford's Edinburgh Festival. Now when we got to Edinburgh, we were told that we wouldn't get an audience because there were no names in this production. But we made a leaflet that was quite strong. We just kind of posed and pretended to be en vogue. So if you didn't recognise us, at least we looked like something we recognised. And then I remember my agent came into the room and said, look, don't expect a big audience because no one knows who you are. And then she came in and said, are you using those chairs because you've sold out? So we opened in Edinburgh, sold out for the whole 3 weeks run.
I mean, you know, a place like Edinburgh, what's it like here where you got Angie Lemar from Lewisham, part of the Lewisham posse, arrives up in Edinburgh, sells out one night as a black woman. What was it like?
It was great because we didn't change anything. And you know, one thing I learned then is that people are more alike, like Maya Angelou says, people are more alike than they are unalike. So if you don't understand my culture, then it's for me to write it so you understand it, as opposed to me to say it doesn't exist and let me try to jump in your world. I remember Billy Economy talks about haggis. I've never tasted haggis, but when he talks about his experience with it, I enjoy it. So if I want to talk about yam, I'll talk about where I'm coming from. My job is to make it funny. And so we didn't compromise it, and that proved to me then, because Edinburgh is an international audience. So therefore, if I can make you laugh, we can make people laugh. And that's when I realised then, do what you want to do. Don't try and fit into what they want to hear, because they change their mind very, very often.
You actually went back to Edinburgh very recently with a group of young kids. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Do you know who your daughter is? We kind of struggled with that show, but it was a show that was heartfelt, because when I was on Choice, there was a young girl called and said that she had sex with her boyfriend, and 4 guys came into the room and had sex with her. But she didn't know it was rape. So she called me and said, was I raped? And I said, my love, that's rape. Just because it wasn't aggressive, there was a line that was crossed. And I remember going home, and you know you feel uncomfortable with something. All I could think of was that there was this mother out there who didn't know her daughter had called me to ask if she'd been raped. Because when I asked her, can you tell your mum? She said, my mum thinks I'm a tramp. So for me, I felt like, wow, there's a big breakdown. So what I had to do for myself was use what I do, which write, and get some cast from the audience and cast the play. Do you know who your daughter is? We went on this station and just said, look, if you want to audition, come down. We had over 100 kids. So that show was slowly building up. And then to get them to Edinburgh was about wanting to put them in the game. So if you can compete against these people, then you're in the game. So we struggled to get them there. But when they got on the stage and they got the reviews that matter, they felt so proud because they're up against their peers. And that was a big challenge, and we got there in the end.
You actually had to play a part in that as well.
I played the mother because I wasn't in the play, but the mother who plays the role just pulled out on me about 2 days before we went to Edinburgh. Another actress pulled out, so I had to rewrite the play, bring 2 characters into one, and then learn the lines and just drive up to Edinburgh and do it.
And what do you prefer? Do you prefer being on the stage or on radio? What is your actual think what's close to your heart? Writing or being on the radio?
I think I go through phases. When I was on radio, there was a time when I just looked at the station and just thought, I've had enough. I don't want to do this anymore. Because I get bored. And when you get bored, you've got to stop. So I just wanted to stop doing radio for a bit. And I wanted to get back on stage. I missed making people laugh. The writing and directing, producing bit. You know, when you start to look at some of the bits you've written and you start to see the actors up there and you think, get off, I want to play that bit. I think it's time to get back on the stage. So I just wanted to see if I could still do comedy. So I'm writing a show now, my one-woman show that opens next year, called In My Shoes, where I play about 5 characters. You like them? They're like yours, isn't it? Who does that?
Me.
No, but yeah, so next year I'm going back on the stage to just get performing again, because I miss doing stand-up.
And Sharp Cuts was your radio play that you brought a tremendous amount of listeners, 60,000 or somewhere around there extra on that Saturday morning Sharp Cuts show, was that right?
Yeah, that Brothers bought that. Yeah, but when we've done Sharp Cuts, do you know Young and Restless? Anybody watch Young and Restless? When you go to the Caribbean, you watch a lot of Young and Restless. Well, my mum could be talking to you, and at 7 o'clock comes, she stops mid-sentence and goes and watches Young and Restless. So I kept thinking, I'd like to write something that does that. And then when I came back and I went to Choice and I said, listen, I'd like to write a drama that makes people think, I must listen to this. So we started with Sharp Cuts and wrote 26 episodes. And when I felt better at writing it, I wrote The Brothers. And The Brothers brought 60,000 listeners to that slot. And then I wrote it as a play, which then became the fastest selling show at the Hackney Empire Bar Hamlet in the history of the Hackney Empire. There's
been a lot of firsts for Angie, but do you feel that this country really hasn't given you the props that you should have really had? Sometimes I feel like that. When I watch Sherman did that, you know, people come to me and say, you know with Catherine Tate? I'm like, I remember a show, you know, Mrs. Burton, and I remember she used to do like open spots when I was on the mainstream circuit, and then a couple of years later you turn on and you go, wow, that was quick. And then you go to TV, you go with ideas, and then you think, okay, nothing comes of it, bit of room for boy, get up, stand up, Channel 4 brings you in, we want to give you your own show that can make black people laugh. I mean, you really get asked those questions. And then you just go, you just keep plodding along, and then sometimes you just go, this is really boring. And then you go to America and the opportunity comes up for you to stay in America, but the times I've had to turn America down was because I had children. And I wasn't prepared to I wasn't ready to root up the family. Now I go to America and I'm prepared to put some grounds down. So In My Shoes is going to New York, LA, Atlanta, Chicago. So it's going to all those places. Do you need somebody to come along with you just to kind of hold you back?
And yes, and his name is Daddy Ernie.
Thank you very much, Angie. A round of applause is going to Atlanta, it's going to represent out there. And you've actually just come back from America, we won an award. Tell us about this award.
Well, we got, it's funny how people like what you're doing elsewhere. So for the Daughters Project, I got invited to talk at the UNESCO had a conference, Women Leading the Way for Human Rights. And they invited me to go to the University of Connecticut to be their guest keynote speaker. And they gave me an award for the work that I've been doing with young girls and, you know, working with young women and empowering young women. So the play, Do You Know Where Your Daughter Is actually going to be adapted for an American audience and do the university circuit and also New York as well.
You're sounding to me like we're going to be losing you to them Yanks. I'm not too happy about that.
No, I don't think so. I don't know. Who knows? You know what I mean? You just want to hit an audience that want you, as opposed to an audience that say, well, and you just get fed up with that. You think, well, let me go somewhere where they don't know me, but they're prepared to get to know me. And you'd be surprised, the reaction sometimes blows you away, and you just think, this is nice. I don't want to give up on London because I still have something to prove here. I've got to prove something here because there are young people coming up, and I don't want them to think that you get to a certain point and you've got to go. We have to stay here as well as build it. and go and come back to make it stronger.
And I know you're very sort of keen as well when it comes to community projects, hence the Angie Lemar school that you had over in New Cross, which sadly isn't on at the moment, but is there any chance of you bringing that back?
Yeah, when I don't let my heart and my mind make the same decisions, because I went to stage school, I went to Barbara Spake's stage school, and they told me that I couldn't do ballet because our bones were too heavy, which was okay because I didn't ask her to lift my leg up in the first place. But then, you know, we couldn't do certain things, and I remember I've always wanted a school that says you can. And when I got that kind of like audience, I could build the school, got some teachers and opened the Angie Lemar School of Expression. But the mistake I think I made was I was funding it myself. I wasn't waiting for the funding or whatever, because I always find that to be an excuse. But then when parents couldn't afford to pay, I didn't let them go because the kids were loving it. And after a while, you start going, wait a minute, I can't afford to do this anymore. So I will do it, but I'll do it on a smaller scale so I can build it and get investors in it rather than trying to do it by myself. Because it was so important, because those children got to learn how to write, direct and produce their own work as opposed to singing, dancing and waiting for someone to give them work to do. I wanted to teach them what I know later, what I knew later, which is you create your own work while you're waiting.
So there is a possibility that it's going to come back eventually.
Yeah, I'm not giving up on that, definitely.
And Whoopi or Mayo?
It's Whoopi for me. Whoopi, Mayo is definitely a foundation of a lot of understanding, but Whoopi Goldberg, she inspired me. You know, Whoopi Goldberg is someone that I've been watching when I was such a young child. She was at the Albany Empire when I was 14, doing her one-woman show back in the day. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, if I could do half of what she does. You know, then I found out we're both Scorpions, we're both left-handed. And then when I read she was dyslexic, that's when I started to tell people I was dyslexic, because I kind of felt, Whoopi's dyslexic, so am I. So it's one of those things that me and Whoopi, you know. And then when I got to meet her, I tell you, you know, sometimes you've got your idol, and when you meet them, you can either be let down or you can be, you know what I mean, really inspired. But I called them up, I was at BBC Radio London then, and I called them up and pretended I was at the BBC. I just didn't say radio, I just said BBC and left it. I said, I'd like to interview Whoopi, and they said, you can have 10 minutes with Whoopi Goldberg. So I got camera crew, the whole lot. And an hour and a half, still talking to her. I mean, she's such a powerful woman, such great wisdom, and it was nice to me because she was so encouraging. So she said some things that made me think, yeah, this is all right. And one thing, that's why I don't feel bad about what I should have, what I think I should have. Because she said to me, you know, you better act as though you peaked. You better act as though this is it right now. Because you don't know what tomorrow is, and you could be not living your life thinking, when I get there, I'll get that. And you never get it. And you miss out on this now. So right now, if this was it for me, I've done very well. I've done more than I expected to do. And that's enough for me. Although, to, you know, do more is something you want to do. But if I went out like this, I'd go out quite happy.
It's a great way to go out, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Angie Lemar. And we wish her the best of luck. Now you go to the green chair. What a fantastic lady, Angie Lemar. I wish her the best of luck when she goes to America. We love you. Sorry. Keep on forgetting he's here. Our next guest is started out a career many years ago, like myself, and she's dubbed the Queen of Lovers Rock. I know many of us in here would have probably had one of them little close-up dances in the blues with the light off, or maybe a little red bulb, and whispered in your girl's ear, I'm so sorry, or I'm hopelessly in love, or something like that. Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Carol Thompson. Like anyone's thirsty tonight. I've got them glasses from IKEA and the bowl and everything. No one knows. You want a drink? You want some wine? Something? Yes. Yeah? So. Carol!
Yes, sir.
Hey, great time.
Thank you, it's good to be here.
Miss Thompson, Now I can say that you actually started out 30 years, I know that, 30 years ago. I mean, we all kind of come from the same era, don't we?
Yeah.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. It was at the beginning. Angie was at the beginning of comedy. It was at the beginning of the whole Lovers Rock era.
I think what it is that it's gone so quickly that when you say it, I can't believe that it's relating to me. That's the problem, which has gone so fast. But yeah, it has been 30 years, and I'm really proud of this.
And how do you view the whole Lovers Rock music?
How do I view it?
I mean, you know, we kind of had, Lovers Rock was a UK thing, and it kind of stopped there. It hasn't really progressed.
Well, you know, the industry is a very tough industry, and Lovers Rock was a very important part, a very important time. It was the first time that, you know, that we could actually express ourselves. It was music that came from the UK, and it was also self-financed. And it was a lot of young people who had a lot of ideas and were bursting with expression, and were just producing music every day. And you didn't have to worry about market forces. We just made the music, stamped it, and gave it to people like yourselves and other sound systems, and they played it. So we didn't have to adhere to market forces. I think what's happened over the years now, that everything has to have some kind of marketability about it. You know, do you look right? Are you the right shade? Are you the right size? You know, are you sure everyone's going to like this music? Whereas before it was a very honest music. There weren't any preconditions about it. So I think that's why it's ended up in this bottleneck thing where everyone feels they have to go through a major company. And once you start going down that road, the music is diluted. And there's just too many restrictions. And before the music's had a chance for people to hear, to love and to understand, it's got, you know, a couple of gatekeepers who make a decision whether or not they think it's going to be palatable for general consumption. So that is why all this great talent we have in this country, which it still happens, it's been born every day, they're out there, don't have a chance because they cannot be honest and just express themselves in an honest way. And that is why the music industry from our culture is suffering. And that's why, you know, they have these big movements that we had with the Lovers Rock era where we just made music.
And it was a lot of fun then as well. I mean, did you always want to be a singer?
Yeah, always wanted to be a singer. At one point I was half convinced that I was going to be an accountant, but that was for my family. But I always knew essentially and deep down inside that I wanted to perform and I wanted to sing. And I grew up in the church like Angie. My grandmother was a minister, my grandfather was a deacon. And so I was singing all the time, and my grandmother was a great singer. I used to call her the Belle of Trelawney. And so she used to run the choir and I used to help her. So I was singing every day, but every weekend I was singing at church, at conventions and at rallies, and also at school. I enjoyed singing at school, but I didn't believe that music was something that you could actually make a career out of. I remember my careers officer saying to me, "Oh, so, Carol, what do you think you would like to do when you leave school?" I said, "Well, I think I'd like to be a singer." And she said, "Well, darling, all you do is rest." She said, "I think you better get yourself a proper profession." So it was, you know, I didn't think it was something that I'd really be able to take on full time. So it's been a joy for me, you know, whether or not I'm making money or I'm not making money, sometimes it's still a joy because it's what I essentially love to do.
I mean, that whole era, we had yourself, Louisa Mark, your good friend Janet Kay. Was you and Janet close from then? Because now you don't rarely see Carol without Janet. Tonight we have. I don't know what's happened to her tonight. But we very rarely see one without the other. But is this a friendship that has gone back from the Lovers' Day to Louisa Mark, Janet Kay?
It's a funny one. Janet and myself, because in the early days we didn't meet anybody because it was all producer-led, it was all studio-led, and there wasn't a kind of, how can I put it, there wasn't sort of like a track for us. There wasn't a roadmap for Lovers Rock singers. There was a roots map, a road map, you know, all the roots and the Bob Marleys and all the Jamaican stars and a lot of the UK stars like Aswad and Steel Pulse. There was a roadmap for them to do live shows, but there wasn't a roadmap for Lovers Rock singers. So Janet and myself met at the Black Theatre Co-op. I never saw myself as an actress, but I enjoyed sort of singing through, performing through song. So we went on the road, Janet, Victor, Chris, Malcolm, and myself, and we did a sort of review show, and that's where we actually really met each other. Prior to that, I'd seen Top of the Pops and all those other things. So that's when we actually found out that we had a lot in common. We actually liked each other, which is really important. And so yeah, from that was 1980, 81 that we met there. And it's been a really good musical journey ever since. All of them, you know, Victor and Chris and all of us.
There's kind of a little team you've got there, a little kind of exclusive team. But you're the inspiration. And you're part of the team. Who inspired you? Who did you know, as somebody growing up, young Carol Thompson, who inspired you?
I was deeply inspired initially by Ella Fitzgerald, because my grandfather, as well as being, before he was a deacon, right? Before he was a deacon, he used to,
bad boy.
Yeah, he used to run blues and all kinds of stuff. So I grew up listening to Scout Bluebeat, you know, Long Shot, Kick the Bucket, and the rest of them. And also he was a real jazz lover, so I had Brooke Benton, Ella Fitzgerald. There was a great Frank Sinatra lover as well, that came later. But I think what it was about Ella Fitzgerald was the first sort of record that I was able to put on the gram.
Was it a blue spot?
Blue spot. And I thought, you know, they went off somewhere and I said, I'm going to put this record on, I'm going to put this record on. And I put this record on. And I just heard this beautiful, pure tone, which I think she was singing, Lullaby, that's why that one. And it was so beautiful. And I just remember playing it and playing it and playing it and thinking, oh, she's, you know, this is so wonderful, this is a great singer. And then from then on, I was influenced a lot with all the Motown, with Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, and the Philly sound with the Jones Girls, and Emotions, and also pop. You know, I was into my pop music.
You weren't into the Beatles, was you?
What's wrong with being into the Beatles?
No, just ask to the Beatles, the Rolling Stones.
Listen, you know, one of my favourite pop records is Yesterday by the Beatles, and that's what inspired me to write my Yesterday. I used to be at home, washing up dishes, singing, I believe. I used to love Yesterday, just the whole reflection and sort of reminiscing. And I felt that song really summed that up for me, and it was one of my favourite pop songs. I wasn't into the Beatles, but there were one or two classic Beatles songs in terms of songwriting, because I've always been into songwriting. So from that angle, yes, I was into the Beatles.
Nothing wrong with that, absolutely. You know what I mean? But here we are, young Carol Thompson, and Hopelessly in Love comes along. And I don't know, what was that car? Did you? I mean, when you took that photo, did you ever think that that album cover was going to be an iconic album cover? Because who's got that album, Hopelessly in Love album? I mean, can you do that pose? Can you cut your lip out? Cut your lip? We was actually trying to get a fur coat, but we couldn't find one. But did you actually think that was going to be an iconic album?
Of course not. I didn't. I just, as far as I'm concerned, I was thinking, what am I doing, sprawled out on this car in the back of Harlesden in a fur coat?
There's nothing wrong with the Harlesden.
No. I just felt really pathetic and stupid. If you see the look on my face, I'm like, okay, hurry up, please just take it. Please just take the photo. And it's like that. I wasn't really thinking, this is the photo that's going to stay with me forever, because I would have fixed it up forever.
That really, you know, we see that album cover and people have flashbacks, you know, of that old era. What was that? Of that old era, you know, that kind of says, yeah, I was there. Yeah. And the whole I'm So Sorry and all those songs, I mean, you must have had many people out and giving you many stories about I'm So Sorry and Hopelessly in Love. Is there any one that stands out?
Well, I think ultimately people say that song is a sort of emotional backdrop for their coming out. You know, when they might have had their first real love affair, or they had their heart broken for the very first time, or they fell in love for the very first time. So usually what I find is that when I sing that song, that a lot of people start to cry. It's a very strange thing. And the other day I was invited to sing at a wedding, and it was an Englishman who just loved my music, and his wife wanted to surprise him with his wedding gift. And I know it's going to cry.
Don't cry, so bad.
No, I'm not going to cry. But it was just so perfectly planned. And they opened the dance floor with Hopeless in Love. And prior to that, I'd sent them a CD and I'd signed it for their wedding breakfast. And he was just, I sent him a picture and they framed it. And he was just couldn't believe himself. Thank you so much. This is a wonderful wedding gift. So then when we started singing, dancing on the floor, and then the DJ scraped up the record and said, well, you're probably wondering why I'm picking up this record in the middle of your wedding dance, and just to let you know that. And then I started to sing, and the man started to bawl. I mean, really, I mean, I thought, should I stop? You know, I didn't really know what to do. And he was just crying, and his eyes were like this. But it was just really amazing how music can do that. You know, it can touch the emotion, and it stays. You know, it's a spiritual thing. And there's many types of music, many genres, and a few songs that do that for me as well. And I feel very blessed and privileged to feel that I have been able to write a song and to sing a song. And after so many years, it still touches people. So I feel very humbled by that.
Do you ever get fed up of singing that whole album, like everywhere you go? Because you've done songs since then. You've written songs for TV commercials and things like that. But everybody just remembers those songs. Do you ever get fed up of singing them?
Never get fed up. It's a blessing, and you can never get fed up with a blessing. And you have to remember that. I don't know where that song came from. I wouldn't know how to reproduce that song. But all I know is that in some kind of stream of consciousness it happened. And it happened in the right package at the right time, and people connected with it, and I just love it for that.
And here we are now, a mature Carol, married to a Dotton from the Beeb, and you've got Colourful TV, which is something that you and Dotton's put together. Tell us something about Colourful TV.
Colour Telly was a concept that Dotton and myself came up with primarily because I was really frustrated. I remember as a child growing up looking on TV and thinking, you know, why aren't there any black children in this advert, or why are there not enough black people on TV? And then 20 odd years later, my daughter is saying the same thing. And I was thinking, this is not right, you know, we have to, you know, exactly as Angie said, you have to sometimes bite the bullet. Sometimes it's not comfortable, and sometimes it's expensive, and it's risky. But sometimes you have to just say, I'm going to do something about this. I want to represent myself. I want to tell my story the way I want to tell it. I don't want it to be told through the eyes of someone else. I don't try and tell a Jewish story, so I don't see why somebody else should try and tell my story. So I just felt that we wanted to do something, wanted to make some programs, make some documentaries. So we've been doing that, and we've been building slowly, and it's coming together really nicely, and we have a good team.
Now you're probably wondering, where can I see Colour TV? So I think you need to tell them.
Yeah, Colour Telly is an internet television station, and it's Colour Telly, www.colourtelly.tv. And basically what we're aiming to do is to produce programs. We had a couple of programs that we sort of piloted just to see how they would work. So we've sort of got the production on, and we've got the internet on. So on the internet you can log on. We don't have a lot of activity at the moment because we're sort of regrouping and putting some things together. But you can go online and have a look at the things that we have done over the last couple of years, and just get involved. and sort of just keep us in mind and support us for when we come out again. Some of the productions will be coming out on some of the satellite stations. On, I think we're going to do one on Voice Africa and hopefully one for Ben as well. So some of our productions will be aired on the Sky platform as well. So it's good. It's challenging times, but it's exciting times. So that's one of the projects that Dot and myself are hoping to get off the ground.
And musically, we're going to get some new stuff. We're going to get another I'm So Sorry or Hopeless in Love. Or...
Well, yes. I mean, I've always been busy doing a lot of stuff in music, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, and working with lots of different acts. I worked with Michael Jackson before he died. I worked on Stevie Wonder's albums, Natalie Cole's albums. I arranged all the backing vocals for the Young People. I did all of that. I also worked on all Robbie Williams' first albums. I arranged the Beavers for Angels and Let Me Entertain You. And so I still keep my hand in the pop market, still arrange backing vocals there. I still do all my adverts. I've got one ad at the moment. Celebrate good times, come on! For celebrations, I've been doing that for the last God knows how many years. And, there are many adverts that I still sing. I still do a lot of adverts on TV. And I've been making music for Comedy Central. I did music for the Kings of Comedy with Chris Rock and Richard Pryor before he died. And I did the Kings of Hip Hop Comedy as well, and I did the Queens of Comedy too, for Comedy Central in America, and that still rolls on from time to time. It's not mine, I promise. It's not mine. So I still do that. So because I sort of work on that area, that sort of brings in my bread and butter. But my love is reggae music, and my love is rock. And so what I have done is what I've managed to do over the last 6 months is really get busy writing, and I've kind of got my energy back, and I've got my creative juices back. So I've been writing some lovers rock songs and some reggae songs, and I'm really happy and very excited about them. So I'm hoping that for Valentine's I can get this album finished and released, and hopefully it'll be well received.
Alright, thank you very much, Dr. Carol Thompson, and you'll be performing at the Jazz Cafe as well.
I'll be performing at the Jazz Cafe on the 28th of December. In between Christmas and New Year's, myself and Janet Kay will be down there doing a live show. So come down, please enjoy. And I'm also, doing a lot of other things. So you can meet me on Facebook if you like.
Once again, Carol Thompson, thank you. And please, whoever's got their number, go turn it off, please. Oh dear. We'd like to welcome on stage the UK's finest actor. He doesn't make a lot of noise, and a lot of people don't make a lot of noise about him, but I know if you watch Waterloo Road right now, yeah? And is it Waking the Dead? Waking the Dead? Yeah? And Cracker? You'll know all about him. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Will Johnson! Whoa. You've been a very busy man of late. Very active in the stage and in theatre and films as well, and on our TV screens. But we want to go back a little bit further, because I understand that you could have been Maslow Will's answer to Usain Bolt before all this started.
I was.
You was?
I was.
You was?
I was very fast. I was very fast when I was young.
Was that running away from the women or running away from home? Tell us about it.
Well, it was running away from them and inspiring me to be an athlete. No, I'm kidding.
No, tell me, in your younger career, your young days, you was a very good athlete.
Yes, I used to be a sprinter. I used to run the 100 and 200. And my fastest time was 11 seconds, so I was pretty quick. Yeah.
Okay. and your acting career, how did that come about? Because another little Dickie Bird told me that you actually got involved in a school drama by default. And when you was asked to play the part, you asked if a certain girl was in this play because you kind of fancied her and you wanted to get a little bit closer. And the first thing you asked was, do I get to kiss her?
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, and you said to take the part.
That's right. That's how I got into drama. Because the school that I went to, was a school in Scotland called William Foster's. And William Foster. That's right.
There's about 3 people went there. You brought them along and you following you around.
And for the first 3 years of our school, we had to do drama as a compulsory subject. And funnily enough, drama was the one subject that I actually hated more than any other lesson in school. So when we came time for our options, drama was dropped. And it was only because of this girl that I actually stepped into to do the play. But then, you know, I caught the acting bug. During the times when I wasn't doing it as a subject, my drama teacher kept trying to push and encourage me to get back into drama. He said, look, you're really good at this, and I just was not interested in talking to artists until we get to the top of it. I mean, I just wanted to just, you know, clear some system and gather and you know what I mean? So that's what I was into, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
And was it worth the wait? Was it worth the kiss?
It was, but I didn't get the girl now. I mean, she regrets it now.
So your whole drama, and tell us your first big break, or your first break, apart from your drama at school.
You mean what, on stage or on television?
Well, either, because you've done stage, you've done TV. What was your first break? Was it TV or stage? You go to one of these acting schools like everyone else seemed to do before they got on the stage?
No, I didn't. No. When I left school, I went to Cecil College and did my O-level and A-levels in drama and English. And when I was coming towards the end of my A-levels, everybody on my course was applying for drama school, you know, Central, Lambda, all these different drama schools. And my teacher said to me, well, what schools are you going to be applying for? And I said, I'm not applying to any of them. And she said, why not? I said, because I can act, so I don't need to go to acting school. And whatever I need to learn, I'll learn on the job. I was very, very emotional, very cocky, because I was very confident about what I could do. And she said, yeah, but how are you going to, you know, do the classics and Shakespeare and work at the A.R.I.S.E and the National Theatre? And I said, I'll just audition and get part. You know, that was my logic. I was just very, very straightforward in terms of, because I always knew what I wanted to do, and I was very definite about what I wanted to do, and I wasn't about to compromise, you know, who I was. And my notion and my belief of drama school at that time was anybody who didn't speak with a received pronunciation or speak with a middle-class Welsh accent. Whenever you went into drama school, you know, your regional accents, or, you know, if you spoke with a London accent or with a Cockney accent or whatever, those things were basically stripped away and said, look, in order for you to be a proper actor, you need to be neutral. And in order to be neutral, you have to have this neutral sound. And the neutral sound is to speak with this received pronunciation, to speak correctly, as they say. And I was, you know, the kid from Tottenham. So that wasn't going to fly with me. So I said, well, I know that if I was to go to drama school, I wouldn't survive a term. Because I'd just be, you know, I just would ask too many questions and I would just oppose everything. So I said, well, it's best to just not go, focus on the acting, and just focus on getting into the business. And whatever training I would need or require, I will learn as I go along. And fortunately for me, my first sort of 3-4 years was working a lot at the National Theatre. And each job that we did, you know, it came with a movement coach, it came with a dialect coach, it came with with a voice coach, with a text coach. So I was learning exactly what people were learning in drama school without getting paid. So it worked to my advantage not to go to drama school.
How difficult was those auditions? Because like you say, here's a black kid from Tottenham, a little rude boy, I want to follow son and have enough girls until you turn up. And, you know, you've got to speak properly. Can you remember those first auditions?
Well, for one, I never got an audition with the A.R.I.S.E. That was number one. Because as far as they was concerned, if you didn't go to drama school, then as far as they were concerned, you didn't have the training, you didn't have the technical skills, so therefore there was no way that you could handle Shakespeare. So I never got an audition with that. The National Theatre was much more liberal in their approach, and much more kind of open to all different type of actors. So I remember auditioning for the National, it was back in 1988. It was a play called Fuente o Luna, which was a Spanish play. And I remember going into the audition, I did the audition, and then when we finished, the director said to me, he said, "Oh, that was really good." He said, "You've got a great voice. Where did you train?" And I said, "I didn't." He said, "What, you didn't go drums?" I said, "No." I said, "This is just natural. This is just me." You know? And he said, "Oh, wow, okay." And then the next day I was up at the bar. So that was my big break in terms of theatre, which was working with the National Play Jubilee in a play which then went on to win a Lawrence Olivier Award for best play of the year, which is fantastic.
This is what I'm saying, you know, we've got a lot of talented people within our community, and, you know, we would probably never know that you'd won an award, like Angie's been to America and won awards, and Charles Van Wells TV ads. You know, is this something that even in the film world, the world that you're in the theatre, this is something that you're trying to break, let people know that there's actually black actors there?
Well, the thing is that, you know, we've been, as black performers in the industry, we've been breaking barriers and breaking grounds for years. But not many people know about what we've done over the years. That's one of the problems, and that's one of the issues that we often face. You know, yes, every now and again somebody may blip on the radar, you know, but it tends to be somebody who's achieved something in America. You know, they've gone into America like Idris, like Chiwetel, etc. And they've done something, and everybody goes, "Oh my God, that's just so amazing, they're so brilliant." It's like, wow, you know, these guys are just like the best since sliced bread. Completely forgetting that there were people before them who were breaking grounds here all the time. And continue to break ground. But because it's here, somehow we're not acknowledged in the same way. Like, it's like you've not really arrived, or you've not really kind of achieved any kind of success until you've broken Hollywood. So in a way, it almost kind of takes away from what's being done here. Like, say for instance now, one of the backlashes that we face as performers left behind in England is, you know, we've got certain brothers who've gone over, they're doing very well in America, very, very well. You know, they're right up there at the top of the food chain. So when projects materialize here, the powers that be go, "Oh, we need to get that guy. What's his name? The guy from The Wire. He can do it." And that's the only person who they think of, because he's the only one that's blipped on their radar. Despite the fact that people like myself have been in the business for 25 years, but done what we've done, do you know what I mean? All of a sudden, we don't exist. Your work does not exist. It's like, you know, and so it's, thank you. I think I know what that is actually. And so all of a sudden it's like all the years of, like, you know, being in great shows like Cracker and being in shows like Clocking Off, Baby Father, Waking the Dead, Waterloo Road, you know, Baby Mother, Anotherhood, Adulthood, all of a sudden these things don't mean anything. Because we can't sell nothing on you because you've not done it, because you're not known, darling. Who knows you? But they know him because he's been to America. but we don't know you, but yet I'll walk down the street, people know me every single day. Do you know what I mean? But yet, somehow, it's almost like an undermining of what we're trying to do here, because not everybody's going to go to America. Not everybody has to go to America to make it. America is an opportunity, i.e., I could get a phone call tomorrow from my agent saying, look, some people in America, they've seen Waking the Dead, they want to screen test you for a film that they're shooting in Africa. I go for the screen test, I get the part, we shoot it in Africa. I then come back to live in England. That's an American movie shot in Africa, but I live in England. Does that all of a sudden mean that I've gone to the States and I've made it? No, it doesn't. It just means that I've just gone where the work is. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it is. You don't have to necessarily live in America or be in America to make it in America. Work is work, and you go where the work is. You could do 3 Hollywood movies back to back here. Sherlock Holmes is shot here. That's an American film with an American star and a British star. And the British star, Jude Law, who is an international movie star, lives in London, but yet is a Hollywood star. So you don't necessarily need to go to America to become a Hollywood star or to become a star. Do you know what I mean? It just depends on the vehicle that you're in and if that vehicle takes off. That's all it is.
It sounds to me like you're talking about Hollywood to be a big star.
I go where the work is. I go where the work is. If the work dictates that I need to go to America, so be it. But then, you know, I've always been one that, you know, when they're ready, they'll find me.
And you touched on a few things there. I want a baby father, I want a baby mum, but especially baby father, where it was a complete black cast. What was that like, working with, you know, a lot of your friends was there as well, involved in that. What was that like?
Whenever I talk about the experience of Baby Father, I always go back to the very beginning, when we had the very first read-through of Baby Father. That was back in 2001. And I remember walking into the rehearsal space, and for the first time, knowing at least 95% of the people in the room were all my friends. That was such an incredible experience. You know, going into a room where you're not the minority, you're not the singular black actor, which is what it is most of the time. You are just the one black actor. It was great to see a sea of black and a sea of really, really talented actors who normally we'd all be competing for that one role. But here we are, there's 4 black male leads in a primetime drama. I mean, we've never had anything like it since. And that show has been off air, what, 8 years now? And we've never had anything like it since that time.
You're a bit disappointed that you haven't had anything like that since then?
Extremely, because the thing is that, you know, it could have been the beginning of various dramas that explored various aspects of our lives in this country and our experiences. You know, what we have now, which is great, we have a lot of people doing films and, you know, it's wonderful and it's fantastic, and I applaud all these people who are writing and directing. But what we're getting now is a lot of films and stories that are kind of crisis-led, that are kind of issue-led, that are kind of revolving around guns and drugs and knives and, you know, destitution. What we had in Baby Father was, you know, 4 grown men dealing with life issues, which is what most of us in this room deal with. Children, marriage, loved ones, jobs, careers, aspirations, you know, and it was the first time that we had something that dealt with our experiences in a very humane way, which wasn't an issue-led thing. It wasn't about, yeah, but I'm going to get you and I'm going to show you, you get me.
I mean, if they came to you and said that they wanted you for a part like that, would you take it?
Would I take it? Yeah, man, I'm going to show you. Well, I mean, I've been involved in the movie Adult, you know, which was a seminal film for Noel Clarke, and I've just recently finished doing a comedy called Another, which was written and directed by Adam Deacon, who was in Adult, who plays the character Jay. And, you know, I play a bit of a gangster in that film. But it's kind of like
Kid Out Good meets Friday. Literally Friday, Ice Cube's Friday. It's kind of the British version of that, what happens in a day in a particular Thompson story. I mean, because my character's kind of dipping in and out of those films, and he's an older character, it's kind of slightly different. Because I can't play those kind of roles. I'm too old to play those sort of roles. That was
well, I can still like it.
Yeah. You know, that's my skill as an actor, darling. You know, I am sometimes required to, you know, go.
Yeah, that worked urban.
It's not black anymore, darling. It's but you know, but for me, I'm not really interested in those kind of stories. I'm interested in stories that are where I'm at now. You know, I'm 45. Do you know what I mean? I've got, you know, grown children, and so the stories that I want to tell and the kind of characters that I want to play, I want them to reflect more where I'm at, and you know, which explores our humanity. You know, I'm really sick of us either having to be some kind of victim, some kind of issue, or some kind of or some kind of crisis.
Some policeman. What do you get from the name Marcia Waterloo Road?
Waterloo Road was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity, and I must say, the only reason why that character came about was through one of the producers at Shed Production. It's a black producer, her name is Shannon. And she wanted to create a specific positive black male character in a primetime drama like Waterloo Road. They've never had a black male teacher before in that series. And so her thinking was, if we're going to have a black teacher, I want him to be about something. So she created this extreme character which, you know, home tutored his children to the point where his children were the brightest in the school. So when they came to Waterloo Road, they were miles ahead of everybody else. Yes, he had his flaws, because a character needs to have flaws, because a character needs to go on a journey. And the journey for that character was learning to let go of his children. You can't keep them wrapped in cotton wool forever. Although morally and, you know, where he's coming from, he was absolutely spot on. He wants the best for his kids. Who doesn't? But he was willing to sacrifice his own career, his own teaching post as a university lecturer, to stay at home and to tutor his children for 5 years, and, you know, so that, you know, they were completely on. What we will see in the second half of Waterloo Road, when it comes out next year, is him really learning to let go of his children, because he's kind of held them a little bit too tight. But it was such a great thing to play, you know, a character in a show like that who was proactive. There was never a time when that character was on the back foot. He was always coming in with initiatives, with ideas. You know, we're trying to implement something. He's always thinking about the good of the school, you know, all the good of his own kids, but he's always trying to, you know, he was proactive. And I don't think that we've actually seen a character like that for a long time, where he was just about trying to be good. You know, that's not something that we get very often.
And talking about being proactive and being good, you're actually doing a post-production of your own at the moment. You're getting behind the camera and putting some stuff together.
Yeah, I'm at the moment, I'm about to go into post-production of a film which I produced a few years ago, and we kind of shot the film and then we kind of put it together, but I was never really happy with the end result. So I kind of went back to the drawing board and said, right, I need to raise some money to realise this film properly. And so we're very, very close to completing that. There's a couple of other projects that I'm working on, which hopefully should come to fruition for next year and the year after. One we're hoping to shoot, if it all goes well, next year summer, and then the other one is going to be a big one. That's going to be close to 3-4 million, which we want to shoot in Vienna, into 12. And at the moment, I'm shooting a movie. At the moment, which is another story.
Oh, we shall leave it there. Ladies and gentlemen, our special guest, Mr. Will Johnson. can't wait to see that love story. Right now we're going to hand you back over to our lovely house band. It's going to do a couple of numbers for you, so put your hands together for the lovely Miss Marcia Escoffrey and her band.
These are some tunes that I've penned myself. The first one you heard was It's Time, it's a Planet song talking about the environment. This one's about love. For those of you who may have been in a relationship, are reminiscing and thinking about that person and maybe why it didn't work out, and that it's possible that maybe that person might find you again. The last one is a song called Beauty's All Around, in a smile, and the way that somebody talks to you. So this is what I call earth world music, so you're having a taste of it this evening. Thank you.
Joy, oh, we got
do as a band when they play up. This one's a lot faster, I love Latin music, all kinds of music, hence the Earth music, which is the music that I'm composing, writing from my heart. So this one's called Beauties All Around. You can clap and have a little jiggle to this one if you want to.
for some of the many talented people that we've got in our community. Once again, Marcia Escoffrey and the Marcia Escoffrey Band. Absolutely fabulous. Alright, we've got some questions and answers right now, and also Jamaica National has got some stuff on the table. If you want to fill in your name, mobile number, we'll collect it up. We've got a raffle that we've got to do before we leave here tonight as well, and you never know what you might win. But right now we've got some questions for our guests. So if we can start with Will first. This is from Michelle. Michelle says that she's admired your work for many, many years, and she's got a son who's 15 years old, and he would like to become a producer. He makes animated films as well, but somehow the way he speaks seems to hinder him, as he is very well spoken. What advice can you give to him in items of making it, in ways of making it?
What's that about the way he speaks?
Well, it looks like he speaks very posh.
Michelle Wader.
Does he speak posh, Michelle?
Yes, explain.
Yeah, it needs a bit of explaining.
You must encourage your son to keep going, because one of the things about this business is that this business guarantees nothing to anybody. That's a given. So, which means, but the upside of that is that it means that it's up for grabs. And if your son has something to contribute, then somebody will respond eventually. But he has to just keep going, and you have to keep encouraging him. And yes, okay, he may go up for parts and you may not get them. That's just the phase, because right about now they're into the urban thing, aren't they, Daddy Ernie?
I'm not black, I'm
the urban thing. I don't quite understand it, but that's what they're into at the moment. And so that will pass, because many things in this business are seasonal. You know, I remember when I was a young kid, you know, we had that phase where there was lots of parts where it was about the young black youth that was hungry with the white man and ting and ray. You know what I mean? There were them roads when I was younger. But that's only for a time. At the moment in time, you know, the demand for young people is this kind of grind thing. And so your son may or may not fit into that, but that won't last forever. Do you know what I mean? And there will be parts that will come along that will require the qualities that your son has. And he'll be able to step into those shoes and step into those shoes very easily. So he mustn't feel discouraged by that. Because most of the time, when you go up for an audition, it's nothing to do with you, it's to do with what they're looking for. So you could be the most talented person in the world. If you don't fit into their criteria, then you won't get the part. You know what I mean? But that doesn't take away from his talent or his ability or what he has to offer. It just it may not be the right time for him now. It doesn't mean to say that there won't be a time, because everything is seasonal in this business. Things come, things go, and things change. The goalpost is always movable. It's never a fixed point.
So hang in there. Keep hanging in there. One for Angie. Congratulations on a fantastic career. This is from Julie in Leeds, who remembers when you came up to the West Indies Centre. It's great to hear how your career has developed. And she wants to know, what was your most memorable experience, and if you could go back in time, what would you change, if anything?
Wow. I think my most memorable experience was playing the Apollo
That's not in Willesden.
Who was there?
In Harlem, right?
In Harlem.
I was there.
It was weird because I actually asked we were doing a documentary, and I remember going to the Apollo and saying it's been my dream to play the Apollo, and asking for Chuck Sutton to come down because he was running it at the time. And they said, okay, we've got Chuck Sutton to come down. And they just thought, why is this mad British woman standing there begging to play the Apollo? And I said, it's been my dream. And he said, well, you'll be my special guest tomorrow. And I remember thinking, I didn't plan that, because normally you're so used to people saying no so that you could argue. But when they say yes, you kind of go, oh, okay. Right. And then I went to the hotel that I was staying at. The next day I came back, and in the Apollo you can have a 3,000-seater, 700-seater, or the 400-seater. And I really thought it was going to be the 300-seater, but it was the 3,000-seater. And I walked out, and I remember them saying, all the way from London, we have the one, the only. And I feel like saying, please don't pick me up too big, you know? Angie Lemar, and I came back, did my bit. And then when I was off, they were saying, you want more, you want more? And I'm like, no, it's not like a singer who can sing another song. No more jokes, that's all I have. And it's actually when I spoke to Will was telling me that he was actually at that show. Because Will and I go back to Dick Shepherd's when we were like 16, doing drama workshops and stuff. But that was the thing. But the thing I would change is probably my school. Because I'm dyslexic and I was very disruptive at school. I was excluded and I had a very difficult time at school. I would change certain things about it because I think it made me who I am today. But I would have respected education a bit better because I had to pick up and catch up later. And I say to kids today that it's never over, but take full advantage of what you have now. So I would change certain things in my education. I'd behave myself a little bit better.
Excluded from school, eh? It's all coming out now.
No, just asked to leave quietly.
Funny, that happened to me as well.
I'm surprised.
Said, you can either leave today or we'll throw you out tomorrow. So I left today. Carol, you dabbled in rock and pop for a short time. Why didn't you pursue that path? Was it the industry sort of steering you somewhere where you didn't want to go?
Yeah, it was a great experience, but I didn't really feel comfortable in it. There's a lot of manipulation that goes on, and there's a lot of decisions that you have to make, and I wasn't prepared to make those decisions or take those options. So, such as just the way that they want you to be. For example, I've been on a photo shoot and they'd be pulling down my dress and saying that, listen, it has to be a bit lower than that, and I have to be showing more cleavage, and I have to project myself in a very provocatively sexual manner. And I said, well, really, I'm really, exactly. I said, and I just couldn't get with it, and there was, a lot of that, and I didn't have any creative freedom either, and I felt boxed up, and I'm a free spirit, and it didn't work for me, and basically, I got signed probably about 3 times, one with Virgin, one with a Virgin subsidiary, and another one, I think EMI. And they actually sent me to America, but the stuff I was doing didn't work for me. They knew that I loved to sing reggae music, and they said, well, actually, it's not going to work unless you grow locks and look like Bob Marley or the I3s. And I said, well, that's not my style. You really don't understand. You know that something's happening in the marketplace, but you don't really know how to market me. And they wouldn't let me sing my own songs. They said, oh, I think it will work on... was it Choice was on there? Oh, maybe it wasn't Choice. Maybe Choice was on the air then. And they said, oh, I think it will work on Choice FM, but I can't see anybody else buying it. I don't think they'll buy it in Rochdale. And I said, well, have you tried? And they said, well, we just don't feel that it's commercial enough. And so you know, once I did the pop thing, and I was with a pop band, and I did the sort of, you know, the black girl in the white pop band thing, and I just thought, well, it's not really me, and I just didn't feel comfortable in that suit.
You should have told them to get that Mercedes car. Just pause up playing.
But you know, at that point, that Hope Is Enough album had sold over 100,000 already. You know, and I'm thinking, well, you know, most of the songs that got into the top 20 weren't even selling 100,000. So I'm thinking, well, if I've got over 100,000 people who have bought my stuff as it is, pure and undiluted, why then, when you sign me, do I have to become something else? So I just had too much mouth and too much lip, and I was just a little bit too intelligent for them.
Oh. Angie, the fact that Miss Merton, who had not been on the circuit as long as you, and was also your support act, given her own show after a short space of time, a reflection of how ethnic minorities can sometimes be overlooked on TV?
Yeah, it's classic. You know, I mean, back in the day they had a black department, and I used to do a joke about the black department being so far away, you know, in the BBC, and if you want a black department, I'll say, why are you sending me to the canteen? Because that's where everybody was. And I remember back then, listen, every time there's an idea, they say go to the black department. You go to the black department, they didn't have the budget, they didn't have the power to make the decision, so you were going back to the beginning. And then I'd say to them, why can't you judge me on what is funny? And they couldn't judge me on what is funny, so they'd say go here or whatever. And you're always fighting black people on television, run downstairs, it's on the news, it's the same old classic, and nothing's changed. And I don't think it will change, really. I think what's going to change when we own our own networks. And we have the power. Exactly what Carol's doing, and what is happening on Ben TV. Yeah, that's right. I think Linda's here. And so it's classic, because when we go on and do shows on Ben TV and we actually go and support, we're supposed to take what we have, our name, our reputation, our ability behind the scenes, and go and do shows and support and make it profile. There's no point saying I only want the BBC or I only want that. The internet right now is so powerful. You could be in so many homes at a click of a button. We need to let go of what we want the mainstream to do, because they tell us every day who we are, and they try to show us who we are. And just to say to that young lady over there who said about her son, the way forward is to teach him how to get him to write his story, get him to write what he knows, and his character. Cast yourself. I did it with Funny Black Women. They wouldn't have given me a show in Funny Black Women and given me the roles unless I wrote it for myself. And so I think that is the way forward. Those characters that they're writing, yeah, you get me, yeah, you know, that's not who we are. And our kids think that's normal. It's not normal. And we need to make our own programs to make them feel that this is who you are. So they go, oh, I can be that. I can become that. Right now they're walking around defensive thinking something's wrong out there. It's not true. We need to protect our kids. How did I get there?
Will, do you still keep in touch with the three other guys from Baby Father, Don, Fraser and David?
No, not really, because, I mean, mainly because of life, work, families. You know, we all have children, we all have careers. And the thing about this industry is that it doesn't really, there's not really a platform or a way for us to kind of really sort of pull together in a way that we would like to pull together. Because I think that sometimes this industry can actually separate people, especially as we get older. And sometimes if your career may not be going in a particular way that you would like it to go, or certain jobs are not coming your way, or you just don't feel as though you're being fulfilled in some way, it can create a sense of isolation. And I think that's, over the years, when we were younger, you know, there was much more a sense of a fraternity and a community within the black acting community, which is not really there anymore. Maybe it's there with the youngsters. I don't know, because I'm not really part of that generation. But the older generation, it's not really there anymore, unfortunately. So, no, we're not in that much contact as we would like to.
That's a shame. Alright, Carol, I need you to put some people out of their misery. Could you just give us a little a cappella, please?
Okay. Yesterday I was hard as stone. Yesterday I had a home. Yesterday I did not question why, but today I just sit down and cry. Tomorrow I'll look life in the eye. Tomorrow I won't sit here and cry. Tomorrow I will be brave and strong, but today my whole life seems wrong. Do you wanna know why he's gone? Do you wanna know why my man is gone? Do you wanna know why he's gone? Leaving me in misery.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands up for my special guest, Angie Lemar, Johnson and Carol Thompson. Jamaica National has given us, is it a food basket? Has it got some top-ups in there? We've got Greg Rizek video, you can see that, and we've got a food basket. Has it got no top-ups? No top-ups in there? Oh. Remember, if you're sending money to Jamaica or the Caribbean, Jamaica National, as they say, as your quintet reach. Go like it reach. Alright? Angie.
The winner is Mrs. Frances Brown.
Mrs. Frances Brown gets the hamper and the DVD. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. We know we had to brave the snow, but hopefully you enjoy this. We'll see you on the 6th of March, back here at the Tabernacle. Have a safe journey home. We've got some networking going on downstairs. You can have a drink, exchange phone numbers and bits and pieces. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of A.R.I.S.E, thank you very much. Good night.